This is Vondas Court Unfiltered. And we're back. Listen, I tell you, I feel so good that I'm able to finally find a streaming service that worked. This is StreamYard. It looks very professional, and I'm fine tuning it. And I got my Black Santa, best mom ever. My kids got that when I was on the bench, and my Vondas Law. And so, I'm very, very happy that I was able to find a streaming service, because it's been going on for about 2 or 3 months, and it's been driving me crazy. But what I'm especially honored to do is to be able to take this time and explain the law to you, so that you understand it better as you're discussing it. And if there's something that I don't know, such as I didn't know that the gun was the child, Ethan's, I thought it was the parents. Bringing it to my attention, so that if I have a conversation with someone as well, that I will be knowledgeable. The purpose of this show is to share knowledge. It ain't for me to say, oh, I know everything because I'm the judge. Although I do think I do know everything. That is why I do not have no husband or no boyfriend. Or, and then my daughter is looking at me like, yeah, you do think. But listen, needless to say, if I'm honored that we're able to share, because there's a lot that I don't know. And listen, I make sure that I prepare and I give out as much information that I can. And I thank you for listening, and I thank you for participating. Okay, so who do we have next? Larry?
Hello.
Hey, Larry, what's up? Hello? Larry.
Hi, it's Gene Evans.
Hi. Listen, I got to let you go. Listen, let me just say this to you, Larry. You sound so good on our little info commercial, how we do it. You sound so good.
Thank you.
Okay, but
before you, so here's my take on this whole thing.
I'm listening. Listen, let me just say this to you, Larry. Wait a minute. We've got Larry, Karen, Shamir, John, and Marilyn. I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna let y'all have it. Go ahead, Larry. I'm listening.
No, I'll be real brief. Okay. The aiding and abetting, I think they're not, I don't care who they bring in, the NRA, the RNA, whoever. I don't think that they're going to be able to get them off at all, like the one caller thought. Because especially if there was no lock and it was accessible, I don't think they're going to have a defense. And for him, and when they had him down at the office, the kid had the gun in his backpack. He had it right there. And their parents were right next. They didn't even know, from all accounts, that the kid had the gun when they were called into the office for the disciplinary meeting. Did you know that?
What?
When they called the parents down because of the concern about the child's behavior in the school. The kid had the gun in his backpack. That's what they're.
What? So he had it the day that he was doing the drawing?
I believe so. Yes, I believe they did. I'm quite sure they did. And they told the parents that he was going to have to be removed from school, and for this situation, they were going to basically remove him from school. And what really mystifies me about this whole thing is not even the fact that the parents left the school and, like you said, they walked out of the school without him. You said they just left him there. What I don't understand is, I understood that the parent, I don't understand why the police, thinking that the parents had some culpability, why they didn't tell the parents not to leave the area. As of yesterday, they didn't even know where the parents were. So I don't understand how they could not have told the parents not to leave the general vicinity, for a certain amount of time until they determine what is what.
And so let me say this to you. Larry, as my girlfriend would say, when you know you've done wrong, there's a constable in every bush. Meaning, because sometimes your own conscience starts messing with you. And you start to say, God, goodness, when the dad checked and the gun was gone, he knew what time it was. He was like, oh my God. Once he found out that they named Ethan as the shooter, he indicated, according to news outlets, he went home to check on the gun and it was gone. At that point, they start moving out the way. They start trying to get out the way. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know where he went to check on it, but wherever the gun was and he went, that's when they started getting out. But I agree with you. If it was an accident, if you had a lockbox, if you had it in the attic, if you had it concealed somewhere, you would not have tried to run. You would have merely said, hey, wait a minute. Let me tell you. Let me show you where I had the gun.
But here's one even better.
I'm listening.
So you have two people. One guy's a robber. The other guy's a getaway driver. So this guy doesn't have a car, and they said, okay, I'll drive you to the liquor store. You're going to go in and rob it. So this guy, and they text the guy or whatever, the driver is going to get nailed too, especially if they can prove that he had knowledge that there was some kind of crime going down. They're not going to, it's going to be pretty hard pressed if he knows the guy goes in. So they could get him for killing or wounding or hurting someone in the midst of a robbery, even though he didn't pull the trigger. He actually was the getaway guy. So he's going to have some sort of culpability, just like this guy down in Georgia. They got the neighbor. He didn't kill the guy, but they know that he was part of the conspiracy with the father and the son.
And what is called is aiding and abetting. And what aiding and abetting says is that if you give assistance, help, encouragement, knowing someone is capable of robbing or something or committing the crime, they had the requisite intent to commit the crime, you're just as guilty, even though you were not the one.
As the guy who pulled the gun, I agree totally. Here's one last thing, and I'll let you get on with the other callers. My thing with the Second Amendment, I don't care how much the NRA helps. To me, this is where the Constitution and these amendments definitely need to be overhauled. Because you have to understand, the Second Amendment with the right to bear arms, look at the time that our country was in. This was during the Revolutionary War. No one ever could have imagined that the Second Amendment would turn into the freedom to bear arms and people are just buying guns indiscriminately at gun shows. No one could have known back in 1775 or whenever it was, it 1775 or 1787 at the Constitutional Congress. The point is, the intent of the Second Amendment back then is not the same as it's being utilized by the NRA. So my point is that many of the amendments, and that's probably the most egregious one, needs to be overhauled because what was effective and what was relevant in back when the Constitution was crafted is not the same as it is in 2021. And that's where the problem is with all the proliferation of guns, and you can't take them away from me because my Second Right amendments give me the right to have it. That all is very true. But these people who are doing what they're doing are acting as if we're still fighting the British. This was because we were defending our right against aggressors like the British. Whoever we were at war with at the time when this was all going on was the whole issue of where this amendment originates from. But again, this is 1787. This is 250 years. How are you going to say that what was relevant then is relevant now? That's my opinion. And I'm sticking to it. Anyway, I'll let you get on with your other calls. Thank you for taking my call.
Okay, very good. Okay. As well as, and I just want to let you know that what they're saying is that we know he had 3 magazines. There's proof that he reloaded. So that goes to show you know what you were doing. Karen, what's your comment?
Yes, good afternoon, Attorney Evans.
Good afternoon.
I have a comments, and then I have a couple of questions right quick for you because I know you have some other callers. First of all, I want to say back in the 1970s, my mother was scared for me to go into teaching at Wayne State because of the way things were even back then. And I did my student teaching at Northwestern High School, which was at one of the top toughest schools, as you know. And can you imagine me in the classroom? I was 20 years old, and my students were 16 and 17. So I had to, kind of put the gloves on going in there. And I just went in there and I told them, I said, look, this class is what you make it. I said, it can be a good class or it could be not so good. And when I, started with that, I didn't have any problem at all, except for one young man took out a comb and said, do you like the way I comb my pretty hair? And that was a problem, which wasn't too bad. And then also I wanted to say, when I had my children, when they were in kindergarten and all, back in like around 2005 or so, they had started the uniforms now. And it just shows you in Detroit, our students have to wear uniforms, but another thing, like you said about the suburbs, they don't have to do that, so they're just totally different. And my two questions to you are, if any school officials are charged, do you think, I'm just asking your opinion, it's not nothing in stone, do you think that they should charge maybe the superintendent or the principal or the counselor?
Well, what it is that they could do something like a misconduct in office. And that would be the person that was holding the position or to support people, that they had a responsibility and they did not fulfill it. But they would not, in my opinion, be charged with murder or involuntary manslaughter or anything like that. It would be another type of charge. And we've often heard of people being charged with what they call misconduct in office. But listen, we got to do station identification. Listen, the other callers, hang on. I'm going to get to you right when we get back. We'll be right back.